This is the all-new, first ever BMW iX. It's BMW's large all-electric SAV. In North America, we would call it a mid-sized, but it is the size of an apartment in Barcelona. It comes in 3 model variants, the XDrive40, XDrive50, and M60. Prices in Canada for each model start at $82,859, $92,859, and $124,619, and this XDrive50, as tested, is $117,000. So if you compare range to equipment to power, this one, the XDrive50, seems to be the best value for money. It makes huge power figures, and that is great news because this controversial looking SAV weighs over 2 tons. It has 2 electric motors, which are developed in-house. They are the 5th generation eDrive motors, and they don't use fixed permanent magnets because when those heat up, they lose their effectiveness. However, permanent magnets are good for efficiency. Nevertheless, these ones still deliver 93%, and here are the performance figures. The front motor makes 268 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. The rear motor makes 335 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, and combined, they make 516 horsepower and 564 pound-feet of torque. The funny thing is that the combined horsepower is less than the added total from the 2 motors. However, the torque is a little bit more. How does that work? Nevertheless, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour without launch control comes in just 4.4 seconds, and the reverse procedure takes 40 meters. Performance, needless to say, is really good. I especially like how smooth it is and how well calibrated the power delivery is. It just feels like a really fast, really powerful internal combustion engine because there's no like on off. It's just everything transitions so smoothly. Like honestly, the one thing I need to highlight about this car is the calibration of the drivetrain. It's just perfection. You can fully do one-pedal driving using the B mode in the transmission, and the iconic sounds from Hans Zimmer are super awesome when you accelerate. This is a very quick car, but there's so much more to it than speed. The front brakes are 348 millimeters with 4-piston calipers. The rear are 345 millimeters with single-piston calipers. It rides on 2-axle air suspension with adaptive dampers, and it has 4-wheel steering. The chassis is a real highlight here. It has the evolution of the carbon core used in the old 7 Series, and now it's called the carbon cage. The carbon cage is all about how they've used carbon reinforced plastic, high-strength steel, and aluminum to create a chassis that's as rigid as possible and at the same time as light as possible. It still weighs 2.5 tons. Go figure. They have done some really noteworthy engineering in this vehicle, from the front double wishbone suspension to the rear multi-link layout, down to the fine-tuning of the elastic bushings and the active integral steering. They even use some clever technology for the electric motors to act like LSDs. So together with the torque vectoring and the traction control and the stability control, it does some really cool stuff. So honestly, the way the power goes to the ground is incredible. Now, all this engineering, the hard work has really paid off because on the road, this thing feels as good as a Mercedes S-Class. It's at that level and it's so quiet. At the same time, dynamically, for something this heavy, it feels so capable and it's just hard to believe. Over bumps and potholes, the suspension really filters out almost everything, and very quietly, it's absolutely superb. In parallel, it controls the body very well, it minimizes body roll, pitch, and dive, and it enables some very good athleticism, let me tell you. Around the corners, this thing grips and grips and grips to the degree that the driver will probably give up first. The behavior is overall very neutral. If you push very hard, then some understeer occurs, but then with the throttle, you can actually correct it. There are no unpredictable situations. This iX is a true 2.5-ton driving machine. Regarding the range, in Canada, this is rated at 475 kilometers. In Europe, with the WLTP circle, they have rated it to 630 kilometers, which is a lot more. In reality, if your foot is well behaved and you don't, really kill it and you master the one pedal driving, you will get about 500 kilometers, which is crazy good. I mean, how much more range do you need? However, if your foot gets angry and you start gunning it and whatever, you're looking more towards like the 400-ish kilometers. The batteries are lithium ion. They're located in the floor inside an aluminum structure that's an integral part of the chassis. The capacity is rated at 111.5 kilowatt hours. The usable capacity is 106.3 kilowatt hours. The onboard charger supports an 11 kilowatt level 2 charge, which means a full charge is about 11 hours at home, or you can visit a 200 kilowatt DC charger and get a 20 to 80% charge in just 35 minutes. Of course, it has a heat pump, and not only a heat pump, it also has very smart cooling and heating for both the battery pack and the motors so that everything always works at the optimal temperature. Honestly, the press release regarding how the system works is like pages and pages. Just trust me, it's very well done. The exterior design of the iX is controversial to say the least. I don't hate it, I don't love it. The rear end is more likable in my opinion. The side view is kind of meh, kind of reminds me of a Nissan or something with that like floating roofline. Also, the side mirrors, they really look like they belong on a Lincoln. And at the front, well, these kidney grills work better on large cars like this one, but still the overall look reminds me more of an exotic angelfish rather than a delicious crispy schnitzel. Inside, the situation is much better. It looks and feels like a BMW i model with the floating screens on the dash and the pushed back surfaces. I really like the layout and the design. The materials are very high grade, and there's some very nice details in here that I really love, like the crystal used on the center controls and on the door for the seat adjustments, the iDrive controls. Very, very fancy. I also like how the buttons are part of the wood trim on the center console. It looks really cool, very fancy. Something to notice is that a lot of recycled materials have been used for the interior and for the car in general, and they've used eco-friendly processes for dyeing the leather inside. The doors on the outside have flush handles, they have electric release latches, and even from inside, you just have to press this button to pop them open. Yes, the question I always get is what happens if I fall into the river and I'm inside the water and then the door doesn't open? Well, there is a safety latch down here that you can pull and you can open the door. So you can, fall into the river, no fear. Technology is absolutely crazy, from the incredible looking frameless heads-up display to the dual screens on the dash that look like ultra high definition. The graphics are super fluid, there's no delay, no frame drops, no nothing. They look amazing. Honestly, everything just works, but things have gotten a bit more complicated with the introduction of iDrive 8. The heads-up display and instrument cluster are customizable. You can pick the content and layout on both. And the center screen is now home to everything, including all the climate control related buttons. There are no physical buttons on the dash other than the front and rear defrosters. Don't get too put off though, because everything works quite well. There are just a bit too many things in the screen now, so scrolling through all the options and apps, especially while driving, is kind of impossible. So shortcuts come in handy, as well as gestures and voice commands, like volume control, and next track, and screen off, and hey BMW, turn on my massage.
Seat massage. Please continue using manual control here.
On. Yeah, that's a thing now. The driving assistants include everything but self-driving. Well, actually, as long as you're holding the wheel, it does most of the steering for you, but all systems available are enhanced and improved. The navigation now also supports augmented reality, but it also, most importantly, works with your Apple Maps. So if you've connected your phone through CarPlay and you have your Apple Maps going, well, you can see the information on the screens of the actual car. Too bad it's not available for other apps like Google Maps or my favorite, which is Waze. The upgraded Bowers & Wilkins sound system is quite good. It also has a 4D sound experience, which vibrates your seat as you pump your beats. But I did turn that off after a while because, the novelty wore off quite quickly. Also, another very funny thing is that when your beats are pumping and the 4D is off, your throttle pedal, it still vibrates and tickles your foot. So you can never turn that off. The glass roof looks phenomenal, and it can electrochromatically, if that's a word, block the light out. It's very cool. The driving modes are fewer than in the past, so now they're called My Modes. You have Personal, Sport, and Efficient. You can only configure Sport, but you can configure almost anything you want, which is really cool. However, Personal, which you'd think that that's the one that you can configure, the only thing you can configure is the ambient light color. So it's basically the default settings plus your choice of ambient light color. A very good thing is that now, finally, these cars have built-in dash cameras, and this one also has an interior camera, which is quite funny. The question I've been getting the most this week, especially from Tesla fan people, does this car support over-the-air updates? Yes, it does, and it also supports the digital key. So now you can use your phone as a key, and you can send like temporary keys to like friends or your mechanic or whoever needs one. So yeah, really good stuff. Roominess is great. The front seats are super comfy, and as you noticed, they do offer a massage. The driving position is absolute perfection, and in a very weird way, I really like this hexagonal steering wheel. Visibility is really good despite the narrow rear views, but thankfully you do get this Tesla-style surround view animation when you're driving that shows you exactly what's surrounding you. The front seats are heated and ventilated. The steering wheel is also heated, and also the armrests up front. The rear seats are also heated. Roominess at the back is very good. Footroom, legroom, and headroom, they're all very generous. The floor is flat, and there's a lot of room for up to 3 adults. Also, another really cool thing is that at the back of each seat, you get 2 USB-C ports for a total of 4, so plenty of ports for everybody to charge their stuff. Front passengers have 2 slots for the phones, one up here and one on the actual passenger door cart. How cool is that? Finally. Also, there's a wireless charger located at the front lower part of the center console. It's quite hard to get to and easy to forget your phone there when you leave, but I guess it works because it's out of the way and it keeps things clean. A bonus is that you get another 2 USB-C ports and a 12-volt socket. The trunk opens really quickly, which I like, and when open, it reveals 500 liters of capacity and lights on each side so that you don't get rear-ended by morons, since the taillights are now facing the sky, so at night, you'd have no light showing up. Now check this out. The kidney grills at the front are home to all the safety sensors, and they're coated with a self-healing clear coat. So when they get dinged, and then some sunlight falls on them and heats them up, they will slowly self-heal. Inside, at night, on the top of the doors, you have your ambient light, which is basically quite bright and red in your face. You can pick some different colors that you want, and they also work like reflectors, like they flash. So when you open your door, people can see that the door is open for safety. It's pretty cool. Sadly, there's no frunk on this car, despite being an EV-only platform, but the BMW emblem pops up, and through that hole, you can top up your windshield washer fluid. Overall, the new iX is a car that you desperately want to hate, but you can't. You just fail miserably to do so. It just wins you over with its incredible comfort, refinement, power, and features. And to be honest, at some point, you even stop caring about the looks. I kind of like it now. Overall score is 9 out of 10. This EV wipes the floor clean with a Tesla Model X, Jaguar I-Pace, Audi e-tron, you name it. So, that's all for today. I hope you liked this video. I hope you like this BMW iX, maybe a bit more now after the video, like me. Till next time, thank you for watching. Please share this video with your friends. Press a like, subscribe. Be well. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.